Welcome back. This is Toni Wade, the Compassionate Investor, and we're talking about my failures in business because your failures you're meant to grow from. And this one here, I can honestly say was yet one of those opportunities that I had to learn from. I do a lot of stuff in contracting. I'm actually as a Weebly, which is minority women and African American businesses. I have a Weebly, which is my double minority certification. And with that, it allows for me to get into contracts with various agencies related to the type of work that I do. And I actually did a contract with the city that allowed for me to contract during COVID and during us trying to provide shelter for the unhoused. And I actually ran 2 amazing shelters. It was the best experience of my life. And I'm going to say that first. We're going to talk about some of the things that went really bad, and then we're going to come right back to it, because even as I look back at it now, I love this work. It really truly showed me the things that I can contribute to our unhoused population to get them to the next level. So as I got into this contract with the city, I actually was working as a contractor, a subcontractor under the prime. So if you've ever gone into contracts with the city, they typically have funding available to a nonprofit who provides services. And that's what I did. I actually got in partnership with this nonprofit doing all of the contracting work for these 2 shelters. And what was amazing about this opportunity was it was so quick and fast. Everyone was moving fast because COVID happened. Everyone had to move quickly to try to serve our clients and get them to a state where they're safe, get them to the state where they were not exposed to COVID and, increasing numbers of people who have COVID. So in the first shelter that I got in, it was initially with this particular agency where we went through specifically what the expectations were. Once we ironed out and I said, these are the things I'm going to do, he said, this is what we're going to pay. Then my job was to make sure that we did everything that we needed to do. And I did that for an entire year and a half. So for an entire year and a half of me performing the work, sending an invoice, providing whatever documentation he required, and then getting paid, we did that for a year and a half. So fast forward 18 months later, all of a sudden he was like, I need a particular document from you. And I was like, you never asked for that document before. Why are you needing that now? You've paid for 18 months. I don't understand where this is coming from. And this agency that I worked for basically said that now it's a requirement that the city has of him. And my whole argument has been, well, you should have let me know that's what you needed when we started this contract, because every month we've delivered on what those expectations are. So my expectation is now, because I've submitted the invoice, I've submitted the documentation you needed before, I now expect payment. So that went on for a month, no payment. We're now going into a second month. Now, mind you, I'm still providing services while there's this back and forth between this agency and myself. And long story short, you can't produce documents that don't exist, because when you create documents that don't exist, that's called fraud all day long. I'm not committing fraud for anybody. I don't care if it's the city. I don't care if it's an agency. I'm not creating it. So finally, because it was now a month and 9 days and I still hadn't gotten paid, a decision had to be made. And so unfortunately, I had to make the decision to walk away. Now, I didn't walk away with staff because I have to consider the clients that we serve. I'm not going to leave people who are relying on us to be there every day 24/7 to provide a service. My obligation was to make sure that we continue to do that. So as graciously as I could, because trust me, I'm still upset that they're still not paying, I ended up giving him my entire team. And I basically handed over the entire team so that they could continue moving forward. We spent time transitioning that period of time so that he could ultimately absorb my team. And we had independent contractors at the time. I think he's still actually using them as that. But the entire team that was there to support them, I basically handed over to him so that we could make sure we were still providing that service to the clients, but I basically walked away because it doesn't make business sense to continue working without pay. And I had talked in discussions with him for weeks to see how we could come to a resolution because I could not continue working without pay. And that was the unfortunate part of where we are. I mean, he owes me thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars right now that we will still enforce that he pay. But we had to do the right thing by people, and we had to do the right thing for ourselves in the process. So the lessons I learned from that is to make sure when you go into a contract with someone that you fully know all expectations related to what it is that is being requested, and you make sure that all of those things are documented, that they're saying that these are all the things that you're required to submit. And you should do that from the first invoice. You should be able to have all that stuff in front of you. I have contracted with multiple agencies since then, and we've gotten that firm understanding day one, and it hasn't stopped. I just don't know why it didn't happen in this particular with this particular agency, but clearly we make sure that's done now, and it's signed off day one or month one of being invoiced. Because at the end of the day, you do not want someone telling you that you need something 18 months later. That doesn't exist. So that is my lessons learned as it relates to contracting. I hope that if you think about doing contracting, feel free to give me some comments. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are as it relates to contracting or contracting with a city. And I hope that this helped you grow as you think about what business you're going to go into. And we'll be back after these messages.